Hey, my name is Nicholas Fong, and I am a part owner of Momentum Plumbing. And in my spare time, my night job, I like to design and publish board games. What I do is I've found many uses for technology in all the different facets of my life. Of course, for communicating with my children, you have your telephone, you have internet, Facebook Messenger, there's Instagram, different things. But for my business, my primary business, which is the plumbing end of it, what I end up doing is I have several employees that need their daily tasks. And so I'm able to use different apps. I, at this point, just use a calendaring app, but one day we'll transition into, there's a more diverse system called ESC, and it's a scheduling and invoicing app. It's amazing, it's really good. I don't have that yet, I will get there, but for now, I share calendaring items and then they can update that. We have it Google synced so that whatever I change, they can see, whatever they change, I can see. And we also share a Google Drive so that when they're done jobs, they can take pictures, upload those to the drive so that we have documented recordings of all the work that was done, things that weren't done, conditions that the job was left in. And let me tell you, that saves my butt, because sometimes I get a client who will call me back and say, hey, there's this scratch on said thing. And I can look at the picture and say, there's no scratch on said thing. So technology has been a significant benefit for my business in that respect. And then when it comes to Fongo Mongo Games, that's the game company that I have created. And what I've done is, instead of hiring out everybody to do everything for me, I decided to self-teach graphic design. And so using a program called Inkscape, I taught myself how to do very, very simple image creation and then graphic design and layering and all these things. And it's been years now and I've figured out all the ins and outs of it. I create all my images, take everything together, and then I'm able to send these files instantaneously to my manufacturer in China. They're able to review them, and within an hour, I have an answer saying, yes, this is good, no, it's not good. I don't have to rely on snail mail to send something and they say, oh, you need a revision. Okay, send it again via snail mail. That's crazy. So I definitely am able to take advantage of all the wonderful benefits of technology for creating content and sending that content worldwide. And I've had people also ask me, hey, I lost my rule book for a previously published game, Aftermath: The Beginning. That was the first game I did. And somebody opened the box and there was no rule book in the box. There's mistakes that happen during manufacturing. And so I can instantly email them a PDF copy and then send them a physical copy later if they need one printed, but either way, they instantaneously have that information. And so from that standpoint, technology is definitely a key component of running either of the businesses that I have. Another aspect of my life is I'm very involved in my church. And so what I do in my church, the volunteer opportunity I've been given is to work all the tech for the region. And so basically kind of central west of Edmonton, there are several church buildings that pertain under my area of influence. And what I do is I make sure that all the computers and everything are up to date and are functional. If they have any issues, I take care of that. But one of my primary responsibilities is broadcasts. And what this has allowed us to do back in the day, we'd have a large general meeting and everyone would come in from all over the area into the church. And for some people, those distances can be up to 6 hours away. Like we service all the way out to Edson and Hinton and Whitecourt, different really remote areas. And in the wintertime, the driving can be very treacherous. And to come in for a meeting and then have several hours to drive, there's a lot of logistics to work out. With the broadcasting, we now have set up camera and sound equipment so that when we're having our meetings, I can just broadcast out to each one of these units individually and they can, from the comfort of their church buildings, receive this broadcast and just throw it up on a projector. And then their membership can view this from their local buildings. And so what we use for that, we've got a Teradek streaming system. And so, like I say, we've got a camera in the main chapel area, and that picks up all the video, and I have full camera control of that. And then the microphones are actually rigged up into a central sound system in the building that goes to a central box, and from that box I can feed that out to all the different units. So, like I say, it comes in from that feed from the camera, and we use the Teradek encoder, and the church itself has an actual streaming system online that they're in league with somebody, and I'm not quite sure who it is. But once we've encoded the signal, we send it out through the church portal, and then it bounces back, and they just receive that from the church website. They draw it back down. They're phenomenal tech. They're still pretty young. So I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 3-year-old. All of them are pretty tech savvy, and I had an interesting experience when I was a child. I grew up in the MS-DOS era, right when it was phasing out, but I had about 3 or 4 years when Windows 3.1 was introduced. I had still been using MS-DOS, and my parents had no idea how to use it. So if I wanted to play any games, I had to figure it out, and I did. And I became an MS-DOS wizard. And so I felt I would not rob my children of this experience. And so if my kids want to play video games on the computer, they gotta figure it out. And Windows is an easy interface compared to MS-DOS. And so I have told them generally how to do it, and I've set them up with a computer that, worst case scenario, I can wipe the drive and refresh if they screw it all up. But you know what? Start clicking on stuff, figure it out. And you know, I've disabled key things like they don't have direct access to the internet on that computer, right? But they can open games, or they can open like Inkscape to make different drawings. They can fiddle with the computer and they can learn. And so through that hard crash course of figure it out, they have become very proficient at turning on computers, turning them off, being able to make files, copy files, you know, load and save. And of course, they're pretty proficient with games. And then, hey, we want to look up videos on, say, Netflix or something. And, you know, my son is just learning to read, but he's highly motivated to learn these words because he's like, I want to watch this show, and how do you spell that show, and typing it into a keyboard. And I do truly think that there's a lot of educational value in tech. And, you know, sitting down in front of a TV screen, if everything's done for you, maybe not that valuable. But if you got to work to get that, I think there's value. Closing thoughts are, I think that technology is a great advancement and makes our lives better.